David, welcome to the Churchfront podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Go ahead and share with us, share for myself's sake, just to kind of get to know a little bit more about your situation, but also for the listeners, like where are you at right now and what are you up to these days?
Yeah, live in Nashville, Tennessee. Been here for 15 years. The bulk of my time at this point is songwriting and producing and run a studio in downtown Franklin. And me and two of my buddies started a production team together called The Creek Music. And we're making music every day. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Yeah. So tell us more about like when you own and run a studio in Nashville, like what preoccupies most of your time these days? Like what does that even look like? Because you kind of get a general idea of it, but most of us have no clue.
Well, I mean, luckily, right now we're getting to work on some pretty fun projects. So it doesn't feel like, the majority of studio stuff feels like you're working on things that are just sometimes mindless, and you're working on all kinds of things, whether it's like, so many studios nowadays are voiceovers or doing all that kind of stuff. So I've been lucky enough that we've been able to work on some really fun things. And but for us, it all kind of revolves around community. We have like an open door policy, so guys are in and out every day. You never know who's going to walk in the door, and so we love to create in community, so we have a lot of fun, and it tends to be a lot of worship stuff that we end up working on, but we've been diving into a lot of different things lately.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so is it primarily Christian and worship artist, or is it even beyond that?
Yeah, it's beyond. I mean, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
But the bulk of it is CCM worship type stuff.
Okay. Cool, man. So are you leading worship regularly at all right now, or like what church do you go to?
Yeah, I go to a church called Journey Church. I've been there for a little over 10 years now, or at 10 years. That's where, whenever I was doing All Sons and Daughters, that's where we kind of came out of. We were writing songs for our church there, and I've been there the whole time. So I just serve as like a lay leader now. So I lead like once or twice a month. But yeah, I used to run the thing back in the day, but now I get to just serve, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. You live in Franklin, Tennessee, right? Is it just a suburb of Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've I was there a couple months ago for something. It just seems like Franklin is where like a lot of people are in Franklin, Tennessee.
There are.
Whether they're songwriters or entrepreneurs, what is it about Franklin that you guys apparently love so much that you all like migrate there?
I mean, it's like Pleasantville at this point. I mean, it doesn't seem like a real place the majority of the time, but it's a place that's become a really cool hub for a lot of songwriters, a lot of guys who are writing songs for the church, and it's become home to a lot of us, and it's kind of our safe haven, which has kind of been a lot of fun. The community is really, really rich, and it's just wild, the people that you see on a daily basis, and just at the coffee shop, or picking up their kids from school. It's
like who do you see on a daily basis?
I mean, anything, anybody. Like we have our studios right in downtown Franklin, and so we walk to coffee every day, we walk to lunch every day, and you never know who you're going to run into, whether it's Brad Paisley or Sheryl Crow or, Lauren Daigle sitting at the coffee shop. It doesn't matter. It's like it's anybody and everybody, and it's just a lot of fun. It's good. It's a good time to catch up with everybody, and so I'm missing that right now.
Yeah. Same here. Are you, like, speaking of, for folks listening to this, I'm not sure when we're going to publish it, but it was May 6th, so still in the midst of, here in Colorado, we're under safer at home orders.
Yeah.
So I don't know if is it the same for you guys?
Yeah. Well, things are starting to open back up. Restaurants are like open to 50%, and I think retail shops opened last Friday or something, but it's a small amount of people who can go in or something. But yeah, it's crazy.
Do you have a wife and kids?
I do. My wife's a high school teacher, and then I have an 8-year-old little girl, and then an almost 2-year-old little girl.
Okay,
it's full on.
Yeah, I've got two. We have two toddlers. They're twins, and they're 2 years old, just about same age as your youngest. And it's I don't know, life because those are our only kids, so life hasn't changed that dramatically.
Yeah.
Most of my life, I'm like coming here to my office every day, and work. Well, I have a small team, but like we have our own rooms to ourselves here, and my wife, Kaylee's already home, with the kids most of the time, but. We're feeling it though. The craziness of not being able to take our kids their 2-year-olds to a park to play.
It's wild. It's wild. And it's so jacked up for them because they just they think they're on vacation, but at the same time they're stuck in here. It's like a weird vortex that we're living in right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Have you had time to think about what impact this will have on the church, and I guess when I say church, like probably the church globally, because this isn't just isolated to us, but I don't know. What are your thoughts in terms of like how this affects our theology of worship and gathering like together in person? We're trying to like substitute it like by doing these online worship services. So how have you and like the other leaders at the Journey kind of wrestled through some of this stuff?
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing because it's our gatherings are such have become such places that are so charged by what's happening in the room. And everybody's got a TV show now. It's like pretty much every church has their own TV channel, and everybody's trying to continue to do exactly what we were doing before. And I just don't know if it's exactly where we should be. I think there's a beauty to the simplicity of what we're missing in this time, and the fact that it is time to slow down, and it is time to maybe revisit a few different things. That was kind of the idea with the open house thing. Those videos are what I do for church. That's what we send in, and that's the stuff that we're doing for worship for our Sunday morning. But it's simply because we don't have the ability to track a full band or do these big productions of what it is. But it's ended up being really sweet. And I don't know, I'm just hearing more and more about the disconnect that's happening where people are watching this stuff, but it doesn't feel the same. And I don't know. I think it's just our mindset that we feel like we have to create this thing that feels like what it was before, when I think we can do something brand new. And I don't know what that thing is, but I know all of us are in a space where we're all a little fragile, and I don't know. Simplicity is beauty at this point.
Yeah. I think we're all still so in it right now and processing it, and I feel like maybe a couple of years from now, maybe there will be like books written about
oh, bro,
what we're all going through.
Books,
right
movies,
just from
all
a
of it.
Perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only one facet of society, right? But
yeah,
because I think, even I'm like a tech guy, and I like helping churches get up and running with all the production gear and all that, the fun stuff, and it really does serve a good practical purpose to like help for those who can't make it to the church or whatever, like for them to in some way participate in it. But man, there's just like such an essential piece of like God's people being together, in the flesh, that like you just, I don't know, maybe we'll have like virtual VR someday that can like come a little bit closer, but that still like it's not going to be the same, right? It's that's what I feel like it's so fundamental to our theology of like the incarnation, what Jesus did. It's like, it's hard when that's missing. You can't like, I don't know if you can completely make our faith virtual, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean, it's been convicting, to say the least, for myself over the first couple weeks. I was struggling, man, like doing these things and sitting here realizing that I feed so much off of people, and it's less to do with my connection with God, and it has more to do with my connection with the people in the room. And it's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, what is that? Like, what does that mean? And so I've had to realign myself and go, okay, hey, what are we creating for? Who are we singing to? And it's been a really great discipline to take my eyes off of what's happening in the room and simply respond to what God's doing right now.
Yeah, man, amen to that. Because like we record our worship sets, and it's only myself, my wife, and another one of our team members will record on Tuesday nights, and they have been the most challenging worship leading sessions I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like in mainly in the fact, because like, yeah, it's a little bit exhausting, being like you said, trying to function like a TV station and like
where you're doing more work than you've ever done ever. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. And the thing is like, I'm a YouTuber. So like, I'm like pretty familiar with a lot of these things more than most people, but even I'm like super exhausted, especially when we try to film. I'm a morning person, so I love like waking up at 5 and on Sundays and like going to church, setting up, doing all that stuff. But it's like we have to film in the evening times in this office I'm in because we disturb everybody else in this building, if we did it during the day. But man, there's been moments where like we're singing and recording. I'm like, I do not feel like doing this right now at all. Like I would much rather be anywhere.
Dude.
But I feel like that's the discipline part of it, right? It's like, we don't just do these things because they feel good all the time.
Yeah.
I think there are some times, especially when we can do these lead worship with people. I think none of us will take that for granted, at least for a while once we can get back to normal. But man, the word discipline, I feel like that's what's characterized worship ministry for me lately.
Yeah. We're doing everybody's basically filming from their houses, and we send our videos in. But like I'll be in the middle of a take and then my 2-year-old will run in, or like everybody's yelling and screaming at each other in the other room, and it's like like this takes over. Or I'll forget to hit record on the video and I've done the whole pass, and I'm like, I turn it around. It's just like, it is such a mind like numbing thing to be doing all of this stuff and have no idea what I'm doing. Like no clue. It's wild, man. It's wild. This is a crazy time. It's like the Wild West, man.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about like, I still kind of have only a vague picture of like what let's say maybe pre-quarantine time, like over the past before, because I know everybody's life's a little bit different right now, but like when you're a partner in the studio and you're working with folks, so are you like helping people write songs? Are you like the producer helping them kind of figure out the arrangement and instrumentation for these songs? Are you doing all above? Like maybe give it a specific example of like a project you guys are recently working on that like, and what your exact role looks like with that project.
Yes. And yes, like to all of those things. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're working on a bunch of different stuff. We worked on Cody Carnes' new stuff. We did Run to the Father and all that kind of stuff. And currently working with Brandon Lake, getting his stuff together for his new record. And we're working on that. And but at the same time, right before quarantine, we were on tour for, I put out a solo record last year. And so we were doing a tour with Mercy Me. I was out opening up for them. And so it was just kind of, there was a lot going on. We were on tour working on that, but we were also on the road. The guys that I do the studio stuff with, they play with me in my band as well. And so we're all on the road working on records, and so yeah, every day looks different. We're either working on tracks, writing a song. A lot of it is the tweaking. There's a lot of just trial and error. We try not to have any no's. We try to do as much as we can, and when it feels right, we go and try not to stifle any creativity, and try to create an open environment for people to feel like they can create. And so that's the bulk of our day is testing out a bunch of different things. Some of it makes it, some of it doesn't. But just trying to continue to make music fun, and I don't know, it's kind of wild that we get to do this for a living. We continue to tell ourselves that, but we're having fun.
Yeah. Okay, so someone like Cody Carnes wants to, he's got some songs he's working on. He wants to like cut an album or whatever the verbology. I'm not like a Nashville native or whatever, so I'm not in this world as much as you. But like, so explain. So like, he comes to you guys for like, was it like he comes for like a couple days or a week, and like he's like, hey, look at all these songs. Like, let's make something of this.
Yeah, for Cody, we did on his record. We did Run of the Father, and we did Heaven Fall, and so that was one of those things where they brought us those two songs, and we're like, hey, we think you guys would be great for these. We listened to it. We kind of give our 2 cents of where we feel like the direction can go, and then we start running. For him, it was usually like a week or two. We'd work on each track for that long, and the majority of the time is just us in a room with Cody, and then we're bringing people in. So the first few days are kind of laying down scratch everything. We create vibes, and whether it's a loop or a piano part, we always try to find the leading instrument of whatever it's going to be, whether it's piano or acoustic or bass, whatever, and try to find that leading instrument, and then we kind of wrap everything else around that and the vocal, and just try to make everything fit. And so the following days are tracking with other guys, and then start mixing and all of that.
Yeah. Man, it'd be fun to be like a fly on the wall when you guys are working on man. Stuff.
Come anytime you want to.
Oh, there we go. That's all I had to say.
We got
to invite myself there.
Open door, man. When I say we have an open door policy, we have an open door policy. It doesn't matter who we're working on. People know that when they're working with us, that you never know who's going to be in there and pop in. It is a place that we tried to create because we never had that opportunity when we were coming up. We wanted to create a space that if guys moved to town and they wanted to see what it's like to be in a session, or they were just trying to get around guys who were doing this kind of stuff, we wanted to have an open door that people could come in and be a part of what's going on and see if they actually want to do this thing. And we're just trying to give people the things that we feel like we never got when we were coming up.
Yeah, that definitely got some more questions along those lines here. But I was gonna say I can picture the YouTube video title and thumbnail now of like how worship songs are actually really made. That's just hanging out with you guys for a day, some sort of vlog or something. But so yeah, man. I mean, like, did you always like when were you like, I want to move to Nashville and write songs, and specifically for the church? Like, what? Maybe I'm sure it's probably a pretty long story, but I don't know. Like, give people a sense. Like, have you always felt like you're gonna wind up where you are now, or like how did that happen?
No way. Yeah, in college, started a band. We were just a rock band. We were like the bar band, the church band. We were kind of the all things. Ended up signing a deal to Word Records. The band was called Jackson Waters. We ended up moving to Nashville, signed a record deal with Word, and did the thing for a couple years. Nothing really took off. We had a few songs on film and TV, but like other than that, nothing was really hitting. We ended up calling it quits. I started playing keys for Need to Breathe. I did that for about a year and a half. During that time is when I started going to church at Journey and fell in love with the community. It was like one of those deals that I truly felt like I saw grace for the first time. It was like a real tangible thing, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that whatever God was doing at that place was really special. I had stopped writing songs when I started doing the Need to Breathe thing, but then about a year in, I was like, man, I really feel like I want to try to write again. But I started thinking about these people I was doing a small group with at the church, and it was kind of the song that came out was like a worship song, and I'd never really written worship stuff before. And so I ended up sending it to the worship pastor. I was like, man, I don't know. I just feel like I'm supposed to send this to you. And he's like, hey, I got this other girl that's wanting to write for her small group. You should get together with her and y'all write a song, see what happens. And so we got together, and I would come back off the road. We'd write, and she was on staff. She was leading there. And my heart just began to grow more and more for what God was doing there. And I ended up coming off the road with Need to Breathe. And then that's when we started the All Sons and Daughters thing. And
wow,
that lasted for about 7 or 8 years. So,
yeah. What was the song, that first song that you wrote and showed your pastor? Was that one that made it on an album?
No, I never did. No. It's
okay.
Never seen the light of day.
Okay, that leads me to another good question for you. How many songs have you written that have never seen the light of day?
Oh man, a lot. I had a hard drive fry on me, and I had to send it off to get recovered, and I had no idea what all was on this thing, but I knew that there were like some really specific sessions that I needed to get off it, and a lot of writes. And I got it back today, and like I opened it up, and there were like hundreds of writes on there that I would have forgot about completely. And I was like, holy cow, I'm glad I got this back. So
approximately what's the ratio of writes to something that ends up on an album?
Oh, I can't tell you. The percentage is probably pretty low. It's probably like baseball. I'm probably batting 300 maybe.
Okay. Man. So, speaking of, like you mentioned earlier, part of the reason you guys have such an open door policy at your studio to like let folks come check out what it's like is so that they can kind of know things that you wish you would have known at the start of your career. So like what are one or two of those things that like if you can go back 10, 12 years or whatever when you were just getting started in Nashville, what do you wish you could go back and tell yourself a decade ago?
Yeah, I think one of the big things was just like not taking myself so seriously. I think there were so many times where I didn't allow myself to enter into something because it was for art or whatever, and I don't know. There's just so many times that I can look back now and go, man, you missed something. Like you missed it. And so not taking myself too seriously, and then just having the freedom to fail. Like failure is such a thing that we don't allow ourselves to do, and we tend to shy away from it, and which means that we don't risk very much. And so I would challenge myself to risk more and probably fail more.
It's a good word. The next question I have, I'm looking at CCLI Song Select, the top 100, and Great Are You, Lord is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on there. So why haven't you just retired and moved to like Aruba or something?
It's too fun, man. It's too fun doing this stuff.
No, so it's like... That's the thing. I just think people don't realize. And plus, if you like just look up your name, it's just like I feel like you've contributed to like so many of these other songs too. And most people just, as worship leaders, we kind of see maybe the primary recording artist's name there or whatever, and that's who we associate the song with. But it's like so many of these songs that you guys write these days, like whether it's your team or whoever, it's just like it just seems like it's nearly always or almost always some sort of team effort between a lot of you different writers.
Yeah.
So Because it's like, I don't know, it just, and again, this is why I want to be a fly on the wall someday, is just to kind of get a sense of like the value that writing kind of in that team environment brings. I mean, I don't know if you can speak to that, but
Yeah.
I mean, you even, All Sons and Daughters, like you guys were obviously a team there, but like as someone who's going into songwriting, like what value does it bring having someone else there to work on these songs like together, like, or can you think of a specific time or a specific song where it's like you had one good piece of it and then someone else like came in and really helped complete it? Like,
I mean, I think I think it's one of those things that it allows people to see the things that you never see in yourself. And that's the thing that I try to do the most when I'm working with other people, and I feel like that's what's given to me the most. Like the things that I think are like whatever, it's not any good. You show it to somebody and they're like, "Whoa, we have to do this." It's the iron sharpening iron thing. It's like I shied away from creating by myself for a long time, and I've been trying to get back to it just because I feel like I have relied so heavily on the fact of I needed to be in a room with other people to pull out things, and so I'm trying to strengthen myself of getting back to that place of creating without having to be with people. But it's still so beautiful to be able to walk into a room and to have somebody pull something out of you that you didn't even realize that you had. And it's just, it's a really special thing. It's like a holy place. And I don't know, I feel honored that I get to watch a lot of the things that I get to watch happen.
So how much did your tour get cut short with Mercy Me?
Got cut. We had 14 dates left, so we were halfway through it.
Okay, man. So maybe describe for folks like who just haven't necessarily kept up with like your current season as an artist and touring artist and like recording artist. Like what is the season for you right now? Because you a lot of folks have obviously heard of All Sons and Daughters and like the music you guys created for the church in that season. Like, man, just I want to personally say thank you, because those were to say I'm a fan is a very big understatement, because like that stuff you guys have written is just amazing, and it's still such an amazing tool for worship leaders and churches everywhere. So like what does this season look for you right now, and like where do you feel like God is kind of leading you right now in terms of like what's your latest album about, and like I don't know, just kind of give us a little update on like where you are creatively as an artist right now.
Yeah. So during the season of like we decided to, at the end of 2016, we decided to take a year off from All Sons and Daughters just to kind of let the dust settle. We've been going hard. We were doing a ton of things that we said that we were never going to do. You know, when we first started, we were running the creative arts department at our church, and so like everything revolved around what we did at Journey. And then the further in we kept getting, touring started picking up more, all this kind of stuff that we weren't going to do, all of a sudden we were having to do. And so we decided to take a year just to take a breath. And during that year, me and my wife have been trying to have another kid for a while, and ended up struggling with infertility for years, 3 or 4 years, and then ended up getting pregnant, had a miscarriage during that time as well. And it was just like a crazy season of feeling unseen by God. And at the same time, the band was kind of coming to an end. We were closing things out with that. And so it was a lot of like, God, who am I when all this stuff goes away, and why won't you allow this one thing that we really want to have happen? And so I was writing songs, but I was writing for everybody else, and I got like 6 months, 8 months into that, and I started looking at them, like realizing more and more that the songs I was writing were my songs. And a lot of them pertain to that season of waiting. And so ended up making a record. Then we started getting adventurous, and we decided we wanted to make a movie out of the entire thing. So we made a music video for every song, and it all ties together and makes this short film. And it was just, I don't know, it was probably the most personal record that I've ever made. And I'm really proud of it. And it's one of those things that we tried to say that it's like it's a weekday worship record. So it's not, there's Sunday songs on there for sure, but we tried to make a record that got you from point A to basically point A, and tried to get you through the week, and a little bit more connected to individualistic worship instead of corporate worship. And so really proud of it, really love it. The songs still speak to me, and I've been doing them at our church for a while now, and it's been beautiful. And this was the Mercy Me thing was the first time where I got to really go share them, and it was insane, man. It was just so much fun. I was having a blast. So
yeah, the videos you guys made for that record, that was like so innovative, creative. Like I remember, because those came out, was it almost a year ago now?
Yeah.
I remember seeing those, and like how you had one kind of piece of the story at a time. And I don't know, I've never seen that before. So props to whoever the filmmaker friend it was of yours who helped you put that together. I don't know, being both kind of a video and a music guy, that was some awesome stuff. So cool. And people, it's on your YouTube channel. So guys listening to this, go obviously subscribe to David on YouTube, and then check out, the series of videos he's got there talking about, the album, The Wait. Really, really awesome stuff. What inspired that? How did you come up with that idea of making those videos?
Bro, it all started as kind of a joke. It was like, I'm such a visual type person anyway. When I'm making songs, when I'm tracking, I tend to see things in video format. And so there were a couple songs that were really specific to I could insert myself into a place whenever I was listening to these songs. And so I just kind of started sharing those ideas with a buddy of mine that was a filmmaker, and we had done some stuff together with All Sons and Daughters, and he was like, dude, let's do it. He's like, this is a no-brainer. Let's dream it up. And so we just started getting together every night and dreaming each scene, and then all of a sudden we were there. And so we went and shot it in 2 weeks. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma for 2 weeks and shot the whole thing. And it was a blast. It was a lot of work, but we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nice. Cool, man. Well, what are you reading these days?
Oh man, I'm like the worst reader. I'm one of those guys that picks up something, he reads it for about a day, and then he's doesn't read something for a year, or all that kind of stuff. But the latest kind of things I'm diving back into, I'll show you right here. So pick these back up. The War of Art, which is a must. It's a great, the first chapter will rock you. Just overcoming, distractions and being able to just do the thing, which is pretty amazing. And then this was a gift to me from Sandra McCracken after a tour of this Book of Psalms. And it's been cool to be able to just take pieces of that and dive into that. And just, I don't know, man, I'm always looking for creative things to write about and for new things to spark new ideas. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Have any favorite podcasts or Netflix shows you're watching right now?
Oh, man. I'm a huge And the Writer Is podcast fan, if you've ever seen that one.
I haven't. Wait, what was it called again?
And the Writer Is. It's Ross Golan. He's a huge writer, pop writer. But they do this podcast and they interview songwriters and artists, all that kind of stuff. And it's amazing, man. One of my favorite podcasts there is, for sure. That's my go-to.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. I think I've exhausted. Well, I could ask more questions, but I think I've exhausted most of our time for today. So yeah, where can folks go to just? I mean, obviously they can Google your name, but where's the best place to kind of keep up with you?
Yeah, DavidLeonardMusic.com. David Leonard Music on all the socials, all that kind of stuff. Instagram is usually my place that I tend to like keep up with the most. But just started that new series called Open House, which has been a strong desire for me for a long time that I've procrastinated on, which was inspired by my dad. It was every Sunday night. My dad, college pastor, still is. Been there for 30-something years at this small university in Arkansas, and every Sunday night, our house would be filled with college kids, and they would sing together, they'd pray together, they would plan for the next week or whatever, and that just, I don't know, that environment I always loved, and I over the last couple of years I've really wanted to start this thing at my house where, the studio is such this open door thing. I wanted my home to be the same place, and so just having my home open on Sunday nights for people to come, and whoever it is, if we'll do song or prayer or whatever, and I haven't done it. And during the quarantine thing, it was like I had no excuses. I was like, well, let's start making these videos and inviting people into my home that way. And it's something I can do right now, and I have no excuses to not do it. And so my hope is that it starts here, but that it morphs into something that really becomes something in my home. And so I'm excited to have community again.
You better be careful. You might have like 1,000 people trying to show up to your home, though. Might get the city of Franklin might not be too happy about the impromptu.
Yeah, I'll probably get
that. No, that's cool, man.
I'll get a call from the homeowners association for sure.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's how the other day, it was just this past Sunday, I was like on YouTube, probably just wasting time. Who knows what I was doing. And I saw your notification pop up on your channel, and I'm like, hey, he's posting something. And it's like, and then I realized, dude, because you hadn't like posted anything since the album release videos.
Yeah.
From one YouTuber to another, post more videos, man. The world needs it.
Dude, I am awful at this stuff, man. Like, the bulk of my day is spent in the studio doing this stuff, and creating content has been so hard for me. And so I'm trying to get better at it, but I have a lot of respect for you guys that do all this stuff.
You could, man, even if you like, just kind of show, if you made a fun video of like, hey, here's how you threw together those tracks for Waymaker in that session you did. Like, I think a lot of people would find that pretty like just cool, because a lot of people are having to learn like production, home production, things like that right now.
Yeah. So, that's a good idea, man.
Like I said, man, I'll just come over and hang out with you guys. Hopefully, post-quarantine life, I can make my way over there to the promised land of Franklin.
I love it. What part of Colorado are you in?
I'm in Littleton, so just south of Denver.
Yep. Cool.
Yep. I remember you guys. I saw you came through to CCU a few years ago at Colorado Christian University and played there. So I think that was like 2015 or 2016. So
yeah,
that might have been right before you guys.
I think that was the last tour we did.
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you, man. Every time I sing one of your songs, especially like, man, I mean, I could talk all day about just the work you guys have done. Like, a lot of everybody knows, like, your songs are just so unique and fit such a need, like a necessary like gap that was in modern Christian music, and like I'm still utilizing these songs just in like, I don't know, the way you guys integrated just the way you wrote lyrics that kind of observe the fact that, hey, like there's a whole rich history of church tradition that we can really utilize in worship. So that's a whole other conversation maybe we could have someday too. But
I love it,
I just
man.
wanted to, I just appreciate you, man. I wanted to, personally connect and then also be able to share with other folks, what you're up to. So thanks so much for all that you have done, you're doing, and just keep it up, man. And hopefully we'll stay in touch.
I love it. I would love it.